cross culture, so many cultures, crossing, you can see why we have all these ghost stories and these legends and all the stuff that goes on. So today what we're going to talk about is basically, I call this video, they traded or they chose to put they chose to put a Sam's Club on Indian burial ground, essentially. And that's what happened. So, let me get my notes, and I will tell you all this tale while I also untangle this weave. I'm multitasking as I make this wig. So, let's get the notes, and let's start from the beginning. So, in the town of Oxford, Alabama, behind a shopping center lies a large hill that does not match with the rest of the terrain. And I mean, if you see it, even when I saw it, I was like, what the flip is that? And my classmate actually told me, oh, that's an Indian mound, a Native American mound. And I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And he was like, no, for real. So, this is actually part of the site of the historic Davis Farm property. And this is according to JSU professor and archaeologist and anthropologist Harry Holstein. And he was actually very instrumental about them getting giving Oxford the business. Because you'll see they did not care about basically, creating their own version of Pet Cemetery. So this mound contains the remnants of an American Indian village, and or the area really has an American Indian village, and the mound itself was once 30 feet high, and it was a temple mound. And it was said at the time the article was written that this may contain Indian or Native American remains, so human remains. And I say human remains because some people forget that First Nations people are human. So anyways, the land there is now flat. So basically, they took the Indian village that was there, the remnants of it, and just leveled it. And the same can be said for the mound. So they were actually using this mound for what they called fill, to help with the local construction project, which was building what is now the Oxford Exchange, which you can actually see right off 20. And you can also see the burial mound. So if you've ever been going through, what's that considered? East Alabama, going towards Birmingham, and you're like, wow, that's a weird looking mountain. It's because it is, let me reiterate, a burial mound. So this area is related to a stone mound on a hill behind the Oxford Exchange, which is the shopping center that I just mentioned. And apparently, the city of Oxford attempted to destroy the mound and use the dirt for a Sam's Club. So I had to reiterate that for you. They used it for a Sam's Club because nobody cares. And of course, the First Nations people, that is their descendants there, which is the Muskogee tribe, we know them as the Creek, or I think it's actually pronounced the Cree tribe. They were not happy with this because they were like, really? So you're just gonna sit here and do that? You're really gonna take these people's remains? And they did. So apparently the city of Oxford used dirt for Sam's Club, and locals protested. So this is the thing. This was not just First Nations people that were upset. This was also the locals, because they knew that this is straight up disrespectful. So why was the city can't read my own writing, Lord. Why was the other mound and village destroyed? So like I said, I'm gonna try to make this clear, but there was that other mound where the Davis farm is. That was made into a sports complex. And I realize now, because me and my friends, we going to college in the country, sometimes we go to Sonic and just go cruising. And we actually drove by there one day. And it's a nice complex. Once you get past the idea that you might be stepping on somebody's auntie. But, yeah, it's now a sports complex. And to be fair, they did put a marker there, and they had this whole exhibit. But I kind of feel like that was after people kind of went off about the fact that you're just out here destroying history just because it's not European. And I'm not trying to be woke in this video. I'm just, this is creepy to me. This is terribly creepy. So professors at JSU even put a report together, my alma mater, JSU, stating that the site should be left alone due to its significance to archaeology in Northeast Alabama. And City of Oxford said, F you, bruh. So the city agreed not to disturb the site. But they did it anyway. Excavations were done by JSU, and I put Bama. Bama, for anybody that's not from the United States, is University of Alabama. I'm sorry. That was a colloquialism. And some artifacts were found, such as gaming stones, greenstone tools, greenstone tool fragments, and ceramic house and wall fragments and house wall fragments. So it shows there was a whole town there. However, much of the site was bulldozed in the 1950s by farmers because, I hate to say it, but Alabama be Alabamaing. Even worse, this mayor, I don't remember this guy because I didn't vote in Alabama. I was a resident of Georgia, so I voted in Georgia. But this man was something to behold. Good Lord. Okay, so the mayor tried to defend what the city was doing, even going so far as to tell a reporter from Vice, that's right, y'all, we were in Vice, or on Vice's website, that he was a Blackfoot, full-blooded Indian. Like that made it okay. Like, yeah, I can desecrate these graves in this settlement because I'm a Native American myself. Yeah, he really said that. And there's more illustrious quotes from this man. In 2010, he told the New York Times he was one half Indian and not sure what tribe he belonged to. So he was just like telling Vice anything. And then when he got to the New York Times, I guess he felt like, well, this is the Times. I guess I should be a little more proper. Apparently. He said that in further, I guess you could say interviews and quotes, that the mound, was called a signal mound. This is what he said locals called it. He also said it's the ugliest old hill in the world. And he envisioned a restaurant or motel atop the hill. Wild. I'm just like, I remember I was researching this and I was texting my cousin and I'm just like, girl, you gotta see this. And she was like, this is outrageous. Like, she was like, this is insane. But yeah, he really wanted to put a I can't even get the words out, a restaurant or a motel on top of sacred burial ground, or what could be sacred burial ground, a sacred mound. And my mind just, it could not even at that point when I read that quote. He further went on to say, and I'm laughing because I'm like, really, bruh? It's just and a cemetery is really just a garden for dead people. Okay. He really said that. Good Lord. This mound, though, has some history. It has some significance. It is considered to be the largest of its excuse me, of its kind in Alabama. oh yeah, this is where I put it. Leon Smith had been mayor, and he actually will say, I think this was to the New York Times, you're not going to hear much from me. I'm done with this Indian stuff. And yet here you are, supposed to be partially or part Native American, right? I'm sorry, my voice kind of went there. So now it gets even worse, because it was made official that remains of Native American people were found and subsequently reburied at the construction site. So they were like digging, and then they were like, oh, dead bodies, gotta stop. So what now, this is where it becomes like a government problem. And I think that's also the reason why people were upset, because it's like, not only are you messing with sacred ground, but you're also you're not desecrating ground, but you're also paying with taxpayer money to do your dirt. No pun intended. So now comes the question, is this area haunted? I haven't experienced anything, but I mean, we can't be sure. I mean, I just think it's a creepy idea that, like, you're going to the Target over there and you're walking on people. People that I would imagine don't want to be walked on like that. And I did have some history of the area as to why this happened. And I mean, it's just the age-old story that settlers started coming in, and along with the Trail of Tears, has pushed out those people that were settled there originally, and then settlers had to make the land workable, and so they just started tearing down things pretty much. So I'm sorry about that coughing, but that is just a quick little blurb, quick little story on that big old Mound Hill thing you see when you are driving through Oxford, Alabama.